Jenny, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. For folks who are watching this whole interview on Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, rudyblairmedia.com, where are you in Canada right now as we speak?
I am in the office of my house in Calgary, Alberta.
Okay, so I'm just curious. Have you been doing Stampede? Because I've been seeing a lot of videos and a lot of pictures. It looks like it is a wild good time there.
Yeah, I have loved Stampede since I was like 10. I've been like a 10-dayer person where like I
Right.
go every single day of Stampede. This year I only went twice. I went twice this year. Just because I love it so much, and so I didn't want it to be kind of tainted in my memory for it like being changed from the world going crazy. But it was still really fun. I got all my cool favorite snacks, and I watched some competitions, and it was really fun. So yeah, I definitely felt the excitement back in the city, which is really nice.
Now, where, of course, as I'm speaking from Toronto, but of course, the rest of the world is watching. They're going, oh my God, like they've got lots of people out there, having a good time. And how are they doing this? Somebody told me, actually, Jojo Mason, I was talking with him. He explained to me how it all works. Can you explain to the folks who don't know about how you guys are dealing with making sure that people don't have COVID going in? Because it's a great setup to get into the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah, so I'm not sure for the performing side. Like I know that JoJo Mason performed at Nashville North, which I didn't
Right.
attend. I didn't go to Nashville North, and so I probably can't speak on that because I'm actually not sure how they did it. But even when I was there, it was really spaced out. They did online ticketing, and so you buy your ticket, so you're not waiting in a line to buy your ticket. And honestly, it felt really normal. It was just a little bit more sparse this time, so it honestly it wasn't as different. If you came, I brought friends from who just moved from BC, and they went for the first time and they thought it was incredible. So you wouldn't have been able to tell the difference unless you were like a hardcore like stampeder like I am.
One of the things that he told me was that they were making sure that when you came in, you had to show that you had gotten 2 shots, so you had
I'm not
to
sure. I'm not
show that.
sure. That could be it. I'm not really sure how it worked with the performing. For the grounds, you didn't. For the
Yeah.
ground, you just got to go in. But for I believe for the tents, some of them had them like that. I'm not much of a partier,
Yeah,
so.
and it's funny because he was also telling me too the tents. Like if you did not get your shots or whatever, they were actually set up to go. Well, if you don't have a shot, we can give you a shot now, kind of thing. Like it was a really cool. I like the way they had everything set up. So I'm glad everybody was able to go down there and be safe and have a good time. But speaking of good times is what we need because COVID's been such a tough time. You are providing music for the summer. Congratulations on your new single. How does it feel having a single being released in probably one of the most controversial and at the same time unforgettable years ever?
You know what? It's really weird. Well, weird in the best way. I was talking to Jackson Willows and Joseph Mercury, who I wrote the song with, and of course we wrote it on Zoom, and so we've never met. And so I just think that they've met each other. They're both in Toronto as well, and so they've met each other, but I've never met either of them. And so it's so strange that we created this whole thing over a screen, and like I don't even know how tall they are. Like I took a guess and I was wrong, but and so yeah, it feels good though, and I think honestly on my end, I graduated last year, and this is what I would have been doing anyways. Thank you. I was very excited, and so this is what I would have been doing anyways, and I think that actually COVID gave me more of a chance to really zero in on it. And so for me, it was kind of beneficial. I know that it totally wasn't for a lot of people, but for me, I kind of thrived in the creative space. So.
I'm just curious, how did you do your graduation? Because I know a lot of folks have done the, at home, some kind of picture or something of it on the lawn or whatever else. What did your family do? What did your family do?
I went to a really small school, so there was only about 120 kids in my graduating class, and so that kind of worked in our favor, where it was easier for our school to put something together. So we walked the sidewalk. I got to go and kind of walk the stage, but it was our front sidewalk, so we did that. That was last year, so it was okay. It was the best that it could have been, so it was
Well,
still good.
I'm glad you at least got that experience, because it was funny. I was talking to somebody else and I was saying that I just feel bad for anybody for the last 2 years graduating, not having the experience, of course, that I've had graduating from high school and college. And so, but I'm glad you at least got to do that too. But like I said, we're glad that you got music out there. But before we talk about the music and the new single, I want to talk about the love of music, where that all began, because your father's got a big part in this too.
Yeah. So I've been performing probably since I was 10. It was funny actually. The other day we were watching a video of me at my fifth grade talent show, and that's kind of like where it all started. And, well, not really. Like it started a lot. It started when I could speak. Pretty much, I've been singing as long as I can remember, and started writing and performing when I was in fifth grade. So when I was 10. And after that performance, my parents put me into the Young Canadians of the Calgary Stampede, which plays into my love for the Stampede. And I did that for a year, so that was one of the best experiences. I met one of my best friends there, and it was just like still one of my fondest memories. But it did solidify that I wanted to be a solo performer. I can't dance, so that was a part of it. But it just solidified that I wanted to be a solo performer. And so after that I just kept writing, and with my dad, he sings as well, and so we would write together. And I actually have released 4 songs. They've now since been kind of taken down, but
That was in 2016.
yeah, I believe 2016 to 2019, I want to
Yeah.
say, in those 3 years. So like when I was in middle school, I had started, and so it's been a journey. This is definitely the hardest that we've gone on the release, so I'm really excited for it. It's kind of like the relaunch.
Well, I don't want to give the name yet of the new single, but how do you think, from those songs that you were releasing between 2016 and 2019 to what we have now, how do you think that you've matured musically?
Oh, so much. I mean, I think I've always been a bit of an older soul. I think I've always been a little bit ahead on the feeling side of things. And so I grew up on country music, and so I have a storytelling aspect to my writing that I really cherish, and I think is a interesting thing when you combine it with more of a sonic kind of pop alternative sound. And so there's definitely, even when I listen to older songs that I've written when I was, in middle school or early high school, I still feel like, oh yeah, that's still me. Like it's still my writing. And so I think maybe more just experience. And so I'm sure that hopefully they'll just get better as I get older. But for the most part, I would say that I've always had a very old soul storytelling aspect. And so I really appreciate and cherish making people feel something, no matter what it is, but making them feel it deeply.
You mentioned 2 names, 2 gentlemen that you wrote the song with in Toronto. How did you guys all meet, and how did this collaboration come about?
So Fraser Hill, who is my A&R, he introduced me to Sam Jackson Willows. He goes by Jackson Willows, and we had written probably 5 songs, I think, before this one. And this song actually came about from another song that Fraser had asked us to jump back in on, because we thought it like had some potential, but it needed some tweaking. And so we jumped back on into it, and both Sam and I were just feeling, like we're not really feeling it. This isn't working. It's not clicking. And so we thought, well, okay, we're here. Let's just start a new song. Let's have fun and kind of just fool around. And so we did. And then Blame It On Me came. And it came, I think we wrote it in like an hour and a half or something. And then the next time we had played it for Fraser, and I played it for my parents. And then we brought Joseph in and made some tweaks and some adjustments. But honestly, the 3 of us just have a really a great vibe. And even by that time, like I would consider them friends from, virtually, I guess, because I've never met them. But they're so great. They pull out. I always say when I write with them, I feel like I settle back into my best self. I like my best writing with them. So.
I want to jump in on that, because I think this is something really important for the folks who are watching this whole thing at Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, rudyblairmedia.com. You're in Calgary. They're in Toronto. So what you just said, was it all done virtually? And if so, how were the recordings done virtually? especially since if this is being recorded during COVID, even where you are, it's not like you can just go to a studio because there are rules to go to the studio. And it's the same thing with Toronto. So how did that all work out?
Yeah, very incredibly. It's so cool. The just what you can do now on technology, it's crazy. And Sam is a, I've said this a lot, he's a, I just call him a wizard. Like he just knows all these things, he knows exactly how to do it. And so we use something called audio movers, which is pretty much just a link that you zero in on. Everyone joins in on the link, and the link is me. Like you can hear my voice. And so we went to OCL Studios in Langdon, just outside of Calgary, where both my dad and I recorded before, and we used Josh William as our like sound tech and physical recorder, like, and uh, and everyone joined in on the Audio Movers link, and so I had everyone in my ears, but I recorded from here, and they listened from there, and it was about like a 9 hour day, I think, and we actually did two songs, and so yeah, it was cool. It's just like having like two little voices in your ear, and you can't see them, so I just like imagine them. But it was really cool. It was like a phone call, kind of like this.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned the name before, but I want to make it official at this point. What's the name of the new single, and what is the single about, please?
The single is called "Blame It on Me," and I feel for myself it's a little bit of an ironic title because, well, even the meaning of the song is about just being unapologetic for maybe people who have let you down, or just unapologetic to yourself as well. I'm someone who, I mean, maybe it's just the Canadian in me, but I say sorry first all the time. Or just say, I'll like drop a spoon and I say sorry to the spoon because I feel bad, and so like that. But so it's just it's kind of an anthem of self love, and it's not necessarily about any specific relationship. Like I said, I really want people to just feel whatever they need to feel from my songs, and so whether it's a friendship, a relationship, a family member, it's about being unapologetically happy and thriving just in yourself. And if someone else has a problem with that, they can blame it on you, but you're happy, and so that's what it's about. Yeah, and I feel like that it was a song that I needed coming out of high school, into a crazy lonesome year kind of thing, and even I'm not in university, and so I didn't have a ton of friends out of high school, and so it was just I think it was an anthem that I needed, and I think a lot of people need. So
Absolutely agree with you on that. Um, with a great song like this, is there a video with this?
there is.
Now, I want to make sure that I saw the right video. Was that you strut your stuff on this video here?
So it's not out yet. The
Okay.
video I believe is going to come. I believe it's going to come on the Wednesday after the 23rd. So
Okay, I don't want to give too much away because
yeah, I
I
won't give
think
too
I
much.
got a sneak peek on this. But
Yeah.
let me ask you this then. Um, how did you get this video recorded?
So this is probably this is the highlight, I think, of my musical career thus far, because my one of my best friends, Isabella Morton, was shooting my single cover photos. She did the photo shoot for the single cover and the press photos, and she's so talented. And we met a year ago, and I love photography and videography too, and so we kind of just clicked, and we've always really clicked creatively.
Mhm.
And so we were taking the photos, and it was the end of the night, and we were in actually the middle of a field. I live kind of more in the countryside, so we're like in the middle of the field, like one of my favorite places. And I was telling her how I wasn't really feeling creatively like clicking with anybody for the video production, and I kind of made a joke and I said, haha, like maybe you should just film my video. And then she kind of looked at me, and I kind of looked at her, and we were like, oh, we're doing this. So we planned it all out. It definitely took a little bit of convincing, like rightfully so. Because when someone comes and they're like, "Hi, like, I actually want to do this myself with my friend, just us," and so it's rightfully so. It was kind of a shot in the dark, but it was a shot in the dark that felt so right, and so I just knew it was gonna turn out exactly it was supposed to. And so we got together, we planned it all out second for second, all the props we needed, all the outfits, and Ben Faulkner at Petty Faulkner Studios was kind enough to let us use the space for free, and that was so kind of him. It worked better than we could have possibly imagined. And so Izzy and I got together. I brought one of my best friends, Liberty, and then we brought two more of our friends, Mackenzie and Fatty, and the five of us, we created the absolute embodiment of this song, and we were there till 3 in the morning, and it was just us, like me and my best friends, creating something for the first time that they were just as excited as I was, and so it was so special. So I'm absolutely ecstatic for people to see it, because it's genuinely exactly how it should have been.
They're going to love it. And the thing that I'm so happy for you and so many other artists, everybody that I've spoken with for the last year and a half, when we talked about the videos, they've been difficult to do, but because people like yourself are so talented, what they come up with what they are using, it always seems to come out better than if you had major cameras out and, cut here and start this over here. Amazing work. Work.
I think out of COVID, even creatively on other aspects, like I had started a few businesses over COVID, and I saw so many people, I think, just bloom like creatively over COVID, because that's what they needed. And so I agree. It was, you do what you have to do, but it ends up being better than maybe it would have been, because it's so just real and raw and just
there you go. Those are the words I love to hear. Now, you mentioned about doing 2 songs, which means there's an EP coming at some point, I hope?
Possibly down the road. There is a second single coming, hopefully in the fall, fingers crossed. But yeah, I'm excited about that.
Okay, now, are we going to see any kind of either in-person performances in Calgary or anywhere else, or as we're waiting for more things to open up, will you be doing virtual performances?
I would love to. I actually just had my first gigs since COVID over Stampede. I had 4 gigs over Stampede, and that was so fun to be back performing. So hopefully as things open up, opportunities will start popping up, and it'll be so good to see people's faces again. And whether it is virtually or in real life, it's a different feeling when you genuinely get to see people's reaction to your songs. So I'm excited. Whenever they come, I'm excited.
Well, we're looking forward to that too, and crossing fingers that you can come to Toronto and perform here, because venues are starting to slowly open up too, so we would love to have you here. I want to say thank you so much for making time to speak with me. Congratulations on your new single. Like I said, we need some summer jams to party with, and this is definitely one of those where you just kind of cruise, which is what I love. Thank you again. Hopefully we talk again on the next single, EP, whatever else is going on. But either way, please keep in touch, and we're looking forward to seeing and hearing everything you're doing in the future.
Will do. Thank you so much.